Hello everyone, welcome to this beautiful Sunday afternoon/morning, and it is time to get the first race of the Dinaco Cup Series Season 2 underway. You already saw my starting lineup video I hope you did at least, but just a recap of the first few rows. We have Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Briscoe starting in the front row. Here's some notable names. AJ Allmendinger and Kurt Busch were the dual winners, hoping they could keep their speed up today. John Jackson had an impressive run in his duel. People were thinking he wasn't even going to make the Daytona 500 this year, but he did, and he's starting in the top 10 in his first career start. Here are some rookies. We have Tyler Reddick starting right next to his RCR teammate Austin Dillon. We have Cole Custer right behind him, starting next to the Toyota of Ryan Reed. Next, we have Christopher Bell in the 95 taking over for Matt DiBenedetto last year. Then we have Spencer Gallagher in the 98 making his first Daytona 500 start. Felipe Carzona only making 3 starts this year, and they're all at super speedways. J.J. Yaley as well. This is only his second start in the Dinaco Cup Series, and he made the field just barely. And more honorable mentions, Chris Buescher reunites with Roush Fenway Racing. And some honorable mentions of cars who didn't make the field. Jimmy Johnson in the number 48 and Alex Bowman in the 88. 2 Hendrick Chevrolets did not make the 500. And the other 2 Hendrick Chevys, Chase Elliott and William Byron, started behind the top 30. They didn't even make the top 30 in qualifying. So a terrible weekend for Hendrick Motorsports, but a pretty good weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing. They have 1 driver on pole, 1 driver in 6th, 1 driver in 7th, and 1 driver starting back in 15th. So, without further ado, let's get this race underway. I've been wasting my time introducing some of the drivers, but we are about to get this race underway. Starting on the pole, Martin Truex Jr. in row 1. 60th Chase Briscoe in row number 2, AJ Allmendinger in row 3, and Kurt Busch in row 4. The Daytona 500 is underway. Green flag. And Allmendinger and Briscoe will be moving on to the next round. The 1 and the 19, their 500s are already over, unfortunately, but Briscoe and Allmendinger, they still have a shot to win it. That was my bad. Okay, next we have Chris Buescher in the 17. The 20 of Eric Jones starts next to him. The 18 of Kyle Busch starts next to him. And John Jackson in the 51 starting in row 4. Green flag. And that is going to be a caution flag since 3 cars flipped over. So, first caution of the 500. And we will reset it and try it again. So, Eric Jones and the 51 of Jackson will be in the first 2 rows, and then Buescher and Busch. And it looks like John Jackson and Kyle Busch will keep their 500s alive. The other 2 are done for the race. Next we have the 42 of Highline Kyle Larson, starting, of course, in the highest line on the track. Then we have the 22 of Joey Logano, sliced bread himself. Then we have the 21 of Matty D, Matt DiBenedetto. And then the 35 of the Army Man, Joey Miles. Green flag. Oh, Logano passed Joey Miles right at the last second. So Joey Logano will keep his 500 alive along with Kyle Larson. The other 2 are done for the race. Next, we have Cars legend Lightning McQueen starting in row 1. Then we have the 40 of Rory Miles in row 2. The 11 of Denny Hamlin, last year's pole sitter, in row 3. And Kevin Harvick in the number 4. Green flag. And that is going to be... Wait, no, it isn't a caution flag. Lightning McQueen stayed on his wheels, so McQueen and Rory Miles will keep their 500s going. Harvick and Hamlin are done for the 500. Very unfortunate. Those two cars were really fast in their duels. So next we have the 14 of Clint Boyer, trying to win his first Dinaco Cup Series race. Then we have the 86 of Chick Hicks. Then we have the 3 of Austin Dillon and the 8 of Tyler Reddick. 2 RCR cars. Green flag. And that is going to be the second caution of the day, because one car didn't even get off the starting line. So we are going to have to try that again. So we have the 8 and the 14 in the first 2 rows, then the 3 and the 86 in the other 2. And Boyer and... Wait, no, never mind. That is a caution flag. Because all 4 cars are not allowed to stay on their wheels. So here we go. Last attempt to get this going. So Chick Hicks will be in row 1, then Boyer, then Reddick, and Austin. So it looks like Clint Boyer and Tyler Reddick are going to stay in the 500 field. The other 2 are out. And we'll go with the other drivers that are now not eligible to win the 500. Next we have Ryan Reed, Cole Custer, a rookie, and the 55 of Henry Miles, and the 43 of Bubba Wallace. Green flag. And it looks like Bubba and Cole Custer will be staying in the race. The 16 and the 55 are done for the day. And by the way, these cars that didn't get out, didn't get into the next round, they didn't all crash, they just weren't fast enough. Next we have the 5 of Justin Allgaier, another rookie that we forgot to mention. Then we have the 95 of Christopher Bell, a rookie. Then the 25 of Owen Miles, and the 10 of Eric Almirola. Green flag. Caution flag is out. Almirola didn't make it past the start. Didn't make it past the ramp, so he will be causing a restart. So here we go. Green flag. And it looks like the 95 of Christopher Bell and the 10 of Eric Almirola will keep racing. The other 2 are out. Justin Allgaier was about to make the next round, but then he wasn't able to. So the 25 and the 5 are done, and the 95 and the 10 will keep racing. Next we have the 97 of Ty Dillon, the 31 of Daniel Hemrick, the 73 of Danny Swords, and rookie, the 98 of Spencer Gallagher. Green flag. Caution flag is out. Hemrick did not make it past the starting grid. The starting ramp, I mean. Probably should have called it that from the beginning. Hemrick will be in the first row, then Ty Dillon, Spencer Gallagher, and the 73. Green flag. And this time, Gallagher and Hemrick will keep racing. Swords and Ty Dillon are out of the race now, and are not eligible to win it. Not the way Swords wanted to go out. He had a pretty good season last year. Now we have Matt Tifft driving part-time this year. John Hunter Nemechek will also be racing. And we have the 82 of Felipe Carzona, the 9 of Chase Elliott, and the 00 of Landon Castle. Oh! Matt Tifft flipped at the last second. That'll allow Carzona and Castle to move on in the 500. Unfortunately, that means Chase Elliott and the 36 will not be racing in the Daytona 500. Or will not be eligible to win the 500. Next, we have underdog DJ Kennington, who started towards the back as usual. Then we have the 12 of Ryan Blaney, the 2 of Brad Keselowski, and another underdog, the 0 of J.J. Haley. I almost said Dylan Lupton for a second. And as expected, the 2 Penske cars will be advancing in the 500. The other 2 will not, as they both flipped over. So Kennington and Yaley are done for the day. Next, we have the final race in round 1. The Rocket Man Ryan Newman will be in the first row. The 15 of Justin Marks will be in the second row. And starting in last place, William Byron will be in the 4th row. Green flag. And Newman is going to miss the rest of the 500. The other 2 will move on. So Hendrick still has 1 car alive in the Daytona 500. Roush, both of their cars knocked out in round 1. Joe Gibbs also has only 1 car left in their team in the 500. Next, we will randomly pick some of the drivers from round 2. As here is our first round: the 43 of Bubba Wallace, the 51 of John Jackson, the 15 of Justin Marks, and the 60 of Chase Briscoe, one of our front row sitters. And it looks like Jackson and Briscoe will still have a shot and move on to the final round in the Daytona 500. Bubba Wallace and Justin Marks will not be eligible to win the Daytona 500. Our next round is the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 95 of Christopher Bell, the 14 of Clint Boyer, and the 82 of Felipe Carzona. And we almost had a caution there, but it looks like the 95 flipped over, so the 82 and the 14 will be moving on. The other 2 are out. Joe Gibbs will not win the Daytona 500. In fact, I think all the Toyotas have been knocked out of the 500. No, never mind. Lightning McQueen is still in it, since he's a Toyota, and at least in my brain. Okay. Speaking of Lightning McQueen, he is in this next round, but first we have William Byron, Spencer Gallagher, Joey Logano, and, as we said, Lightning McQueen. Green flag. And caution flag is out. Nobody flipped over, so the caution flag comes out for the first time today, or in this round at least. And here are the other cars. We're going to get back. And the caution is out again. Too many cars flipped over. So here we go. Final chance to make the next round in the Daytona 500 is right here. And Joey Logano and William Byron will be advancing to the next part. Gallagher and McQueen are done. So yeah, that officially knocks out every single Toyota. Hendrick Motorsports still has a driver alive in the Daytona 500. And William Byron. After their terrible week, it would be great to see one of their drivers win the race. Next, we have the 31 of Daniel Hemrick, the 42 of Kyle Larson, the 2 of Brad Keselowski, and the 41 of Cole Custer. Green flag. Caution flag comes out. 1 for 3 of the drivers flipping over, and the other for Daniel Hemrick not making it across the start-finish line. So here we go. The order is now randomly set. Green flag. And Kyle Larson didn't technically flip over, so he and Brad Keselowski are still eligible to win the Daytona 500. The other 2 are done. So tough break for Hemrick and especially Custer. In his rookie start, driving one of the fastest cars from last year, Suarez, the driver who raced that car, will not even be in contention to compete in the Dinaco Cup Series this year. Anyway, in this round we have Ryan Blaney, AJ Allmendinger, Landon Castle, and Eric Almirola. Green flag. And the caution's out. Too many cars flipped over. Eric Almirola was the only one not to flip over. So we are going to reset that order. Almirola, you're not supposed to be diagonal. Green flag. Caution is out again. Every single car flipped over. So this is the final chance for these drivers to make the Daytona 500. After this, Rory Miles and Tyler Reddick will be racing a 2-on-2 race for the final spot in the Daytona 500. Green flag. And too many cars flipped over, so I'm just going to say the first two. AJ Allmendinger and Eric Almirola will still be in contention to win the 500. The other two are out of the race. So, because Penske's still having a pretty good day. That was their first time somebody got out of the 500 to win it. So here we go. We have the 8 of Tyler Reddick in row 1 and the 40 of Rory Miles in row 2. Green flag. And Reddick is the driver that will move on. So Rory Miles is out of Daytona 500 win contention. So here we go. Here are the drivers that are still eligible to win the Daytona 500. Let's see which one of them will pull it off. That's going to have to do. Okay. Okay, here we go. In the first one, we have the Warrior from Emporia, Clint Boyer, the 72 of A.J. Allmendinger, the 42 of Highline Kyle Larson, and the 24 of William Byron, who started last, hoping to get the 500 win. Green flag. Caution on the track already in round 1, as 3 of the 4 cars flipped over, so that is not an eligible race. So anyway, we have Kyle Larson, AJ Allmendinger, Clint Boyer, and William Byron. Almost the same order. Oh, the other 2 flipped over, so Byron and Clint Boyer are still eligible. The other 2 cannot win the 500. That knocks out, I think, most of the front of the first 4 cars, because Chase Briscoe's the only one left, but Byron and Boyer can still win the Daytona 500. In the next round, we have Joey Logano driving the number 22, Eric Almirola in the 10, John Jackson in the 51, the feel-good story of the week, and the 8 of Tyler Reddick. Caution is out again. A lot of cautions to run this 500 down. Next, we have the 22 of Logano, the 51 of John Jackson, the 10 of Eric Almirola, and the 8 of Tyler Reddick. Green flag. Oh, John Jackson. That could have been still a chance to make the 500, but the caution's out again. So, we're going to try that again. So, here we go. Jackson and Almirola, and then Reddick and Logano. And it looks like Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick will move on. John Jackson flipped over and Eric Almirola was too far back, so they can no longer win the Daytona 500. The Cinderella story of the weekend for John Jackson ends right here. So here is the final 3 cars who will be taking place in a 6-car running to win the Daytona 500. And it looks like Keselowski and Briscoe will be moving on, as they are going to round out the official top 6 in this year's Daytona 500. Briscoe looking to win it for the 2nd year in a row, which would be pretty cool. So here are our final 6 drivers. Clint Boyer in the 14, the Warrior from Emporia. Then we have Tyler Reddick driving the number 8. Then we have the 60 of Chase Briscoe and the 24 of William Byron trying to keep his 500 alive. Oh, Briscoe falls off the track. He is going to miss out as Reddick and Boyer will finish in the top 4. The other 2 are out. We will have a new Daytona 500 winner. These are the final 4 drivers in the 500. Joey Logano, Clint Bowyer, Brad Keselowski, and Tyler Reddick. Who is going to win the Daytona 500 green flag? The caution is out. Clint Bowyer didn't make it past the start ramp. So we're going to try it again. Keselowski will be on the first row this time. Then Bowyer, Reddick, and Logano. Green flag. The caution is out again. We can't even seem to get the final 2. Because 3 out of the 4 cars flipped over. Then we have Logano, Reddick, Bowyer, and Keselowski. And because of this, it looks like it'll be 2 Penske drivers racing for the Daytona 500 win. Logano and Brad Keselowski. The other 2 will not win the 500. So this is for the win of the Daytona 500. Brad Keselowski caught up in a wreck. Started towards the back of the 500. Joey Logano started in 10th place, trying to win his 2nd race in the Dinaco Cup Series. Both of these drivers have won before. Green flag. Brad Keselowski is the winner of the Season 2 Daytona 500. As he rallies through the field to beat his teammate Joey Logano in winning the Dinaco Cup Series Season 2 Daytona 500, and he is already in the playoffs. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.